Good afternoon. Good, thank you.
You can begin with your opening statement whenever you're ready, and if you have guests you would like to introduce, feel free to do that as well.
I would. I'll start with them, if that's all right with you. Thank you. I'm joined today by my family, part of my family, my wife, Lucy, and our children, Liam, Lauren, Micah, and Adam, and my sister-in-law, Dorothy Lang, and one of my partners, Kirk Schuler, and a longtime friend you're going to get to talk to after I'm done.
Hello.
I appreciate the opportunity to be with you again here today. Thank you for your service to the state and to our profession. Had a chance to acknowledge my family with me here today, but I want to note all the family, friends, colleagues, and clients who've supported me in this process. While some are here in the room, some are watching online, including my parents, I hope, if they could get online and if my mom could stand it. So this is my third application to our Iowa Appellate Courts. I sure hope third time's a charm. I'm eager to answer your questions today, but before that part, I thought I'd say a few words about what brought me to this seat. I was born and raised in and near Joliet, Illinois. I had the love and support of my family when I was growing up, just like I do today. They imparted core values of mercy, justice, humility. They helped me gain the grit that has served me well throughout my career and in my life. And they also showed me the value of hard work. Every day I think about my grandma's words, the world don't owe you a living. And I started earning my keep with a paper route when I was 11, and I haven't stopped since. I graduated from Augustana College and Drake Law School. While at Drake, I had the pleasure of being a law clerk for Judge Doyle when he was at his former firm. He was my supervisor. And one of the first projects he ever gave me eventually became my law school note. I learned a lot from the judge over time, and he's remained a friend since. He's a true mentor, and I'm blessed to have the chance to possibly follow in his footsteps. Another friend and mentor of mine was Chief Justice Mark Cady. After law school, I started my legal career with a 2-year clerkship with the justice, first at the Capitol and then in this very courtroom. I took my book learning from Drake and translated it into helping him deal with some of the most difficult cases that are seen or dealt with in the state. I also got a special view of the appellate courts and what it means to be an ethical professional. After clerking, I moved into private practice, eventually joining my current firm where I'm a partner. My practice primarily involves business litigation, although I also do employment law, some medical malpractice, some products liability, and just all sorts of other things that come up. Most of my clients are connected to the core industries in Iowa, like healthcare, government, manufacturing, and finance. In my practice, I argue motions and tried cases in state and federal courts, running the gamut from small claims to the very court to which I'm applying. I've spent years creating the very voluminous records that our appellate judges need to dig into as judges. In doing so, I've worked countless hours to prepare my cases to make sure things go as planned. Of course, sometimes they don't, and then we work twice as hard to fix it. I think my clients, opponents, and others see me as someone who will battle long and hard, but always with great respect for my opponents, my clients, others who I deal with and work with. And of course, with great respect for our profession. Outside of my billable work, I have always worked to advance our profession through legal bar activities, through pro bono services, through support for diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, and that's been a very important part of my work over the years. My law firm expects that every year I'll account for 2,100 hours, at least 2,100 hours of client billable work or other activities to improve my community or my practice. I regularly exceed that amount and usually average about 2,500 hours. To hit that mark, 60 to 80 hour work weeks are my norm. I know the Court of Appeals has a busy docket, to which I say bring it on. In addition to working my tail off, I'll bring a fresh perspective to the court about the practicalities and challenges that are experienced in our system of justice, both in the courtroom and the boardroom across the state. I've long held the goal of becoming an appellate judge. I very much enjoy my practice, my colleagues, the clients, my bar and community activities. But sometimes you need to sacrifice something in pursuit of something bigger than yourself. I love the law and the judicial system. I've spent years in the courtrooms where these things intersect. This courthouse is where those concepts reach their final outcome, most frequently with the Court of Appeals. I'm thrilled by the prospect of getting to work as its newest judge. Thank you for your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Commissioner Zukow, would you like to start?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Miller, you've been a partner for 8 years. If you were selected, what would be the biggest hole you'd leave in your firm?
Well, I feel like obviously I do billable work and I work closely with my colleagues. I'd miss that. I wouldn't be doing that work. But I think we've got a great unit both within the office and within our trial group. I would leave and miss those opportunities to work with those folks, to mentor people who I've been working with for a long time. I think I'd lose that opportunity. That'd be something I don't want to lose out on, and also feel like I'm a bit of a glue for the office. The chance to continue to build something that many of us have been working on for 20 years, and I'd be out of that, and so I think that'd be a loss.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, the criminal justice system has a disparate impact on people of color in Iowa, and I don't know where we rank in the states, but it's not very good. The population is 7%, and the incarceration rate is about 10 times that. Have you given any thought to what the court system could or should do to address those issues?
I have given thought to it, and it's something that I think we've seen initiatives and some work or a start on work toward addressing inequities in the system and providing information or a view from the court side about where those concerns arise. I think with the Court of Appeals, we'd be in a little bit different position. Certainly need to be cognizant and understanding of the impact and the issues and supportive of addressing those things, but perhaps not in a perfect spot to have quite the same influence that our leaders in the judicial branch might have.
Commissioner Percy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your application indicates that pro bono work has been continuous and ongoing for you, and that you average about 50 hours a year, which is great. How do you feel that would have impact or make a positive impact, so to speak, or benefit you serving on the courts?
Yeah, well, one of the things I've tried to do in my pro bono work is what I don't do in my regular day job, or my regular practice. And so I had the benefit of being a part of the elder law clinic at Drake Law School way back in the day. I learned about guardianships and conservatorships and a lot of issues or things in the probate realm. I've looked for opportunities to continue to do that, and so I might not be doing the billable work on guardianship and conservatorship doesn't usually come up, but in a pro bono context, I get to do that type of thing. I do name changes, those type of things that are kind of diversify my practice, and I think would benefit or have exposed me to areas you might look at my resume and go, he doesn't know what guardianship is, or he doesn't deal with a name change, but I have in fact. So that's been a great thing, and plus working with individuals that, sometimes I'm not working with individuals, I'm working with an entity, right? That's my typical client, but the chance to see from their eyes and to work with clients in that circumstance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Goodman.
Thank you, Chairman. Bill, I was kind of stunned when you mentioned that you work 2,500 hours, because my fellow commissioners know that I've asked a number of people, how do you keep up with this workload of the Court of Appeals? And I think that I've struggled with what metric do you apply to figure that out? You know, how many hours do you come to work or that type of thing? And I think anybody that's around this U-shaped table that practices in private practice knows what 2,500 hours amounts to. I used to do that when I was an associate attorney, and that was, I really felt like George Jetson on the treadmill. I find it amazing that you've written a 25-page article on unpublished opinions and made it interesting to read. So congratulations on that. What I'd like to know is that work ethic from private practice, will that transfer to the Court of Appeals? Do you expect to work that hard on the Court of Appeals?
Well, I do, or at least I'm prepared to. I know several of the judges. I know the burdens of the system and sort of make their way to the Court of Appeals. I sometimes feel like a buzzsaw. I get up early and I come in and, take on stuff and get it done, and I don't think that's going to change. It's fully expect to bring that to bear, and so yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
thank you.
Commissioner Hanson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How do you deal with stress, and how do you relieve stress?
Yeah. Well, I deal with stress just fine. Just generally speaking, I've come accustomed to it. It's, a busy practice and a lot of things going on, and just learn to adapt and roll with it. To try to get some escape, of course, I enjoy family time. I enjoy reading. Opportunity to do things that get me away from the law, when I leave the office, and also occasional exercise. Pickleball's high on the list right now, so anyway. Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Valentine.
Thank you, Bill. I'm just going to say what everybody in the room is thinking. At working 2,500 hours, I'm not sure how that whole pew got filled there, but regardless, and I want to kind of go off of Commissioner Pearson's comments on your pro bono work. One of your letters regarding your letters of recommendation was from an individual involved with the APE initiative. Tell me how you got involved in that and what you actually are doing with them, or if you're still working with them.
Yeah. So a main source of my pro bono work is the Polk County Volunteer Lawyers Project, and they sent out a list of needs, and they had one time a few years ago, unique nonprofit with a dispute, and okay, well, that sounds interesting. What's going on here? And they told me what it was, and I'd heard of what used to be the Great Ape Trust. I think that's usually what most people around the state have heard it as. And so anyway, I got involved. Lyle Simpson, who's a local attorney, was their general counsel. Basically, they laid out that they were having a dispute with the former kind of the leader or the originator of the effort, who is a somewhat famous academic. And anyway, they had a governance dispute. We got involved in that matter. We ended up taking that into a federal court circumstance where we ended up with a mini trial, and we carried the day for them to establish that my folks who are now in place are the ones who have the right to kind of call the shots. Now, I've stuck with them since then, and in fact, I was just emailing with them this week about a new matter, and they have all sorts of kind of interesting things pop up, and not to mention their work and what they do, but they of course have the sort of normal legal issues that come up, and we continue to help them out with those.
Have you gotten to meet an ape?
I have. I mean,
Okay.
I'd encourage anybody who has any sort of interest, they'll have you out. And so Google Kanzi, Kanzi, and you'll be amazed. He's been on BBC, and they can communicate. I'm going to get it wrong, but they can read at a certain level and then communicate at a higher level, and it's just quite amazing. So yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Commissioner Buckle.
Mr. Miller, I would like for you to share with the commissioners the events or story with a paralegal who you encouraged to go to law school and is now a lawyer. And how did you do that, and why? And do you think you have an obligation for that kind of outreach?
Oh, sure. You're referring, I think, to Manuel Cornell,
I am.
who's my associate now, and he was going to be with us today, but wasn't feeling quite well enough and thought he should stay home, which I agreed with. So, anyway, hi Manuel. But no, we hired him a few years back as a paralegal. We needed a trial paralegal, and we laughed when my partner said, "Are you planning to go to law school?" That was a question in the interview. Oh, no, I'm going to be a paralegal. But sure enough, he got involved and had some interest. And Manuel's a great guy and also a diverse member of the bar now. And so we saw an opportunity to help him make his dream come true to go to law school, work toward that. Tried to support him in any way possible, introduced him to, wrote a letter on his behalf to the dean at Drake, and we, of course, then tried to keep hold of him while he was going through law school, and he kept working through that, and so he then eventually became our associate, and so he's been with us for a number of years. And yeah, I absolutely believe, let it begin with me, that it's my obligation to identify and work to advance folks, particularly diverse candidates and people that can add to the diversity of our bar. And so I'm looking for those opportunities, and that was a great one, and just wonderful to now have him as a friend and colleague. So, thank you.
Commissioner Hoyting.
Professor Muller may be able to correct me on this, but if I were to go to Drake Law School or Iowa Law School today to talk to 3L students and say, I'll give you two doors. Door one, you can become a partner at Dorsey and Whitney, or door two, you can be a judge on the Iowa Court of Appeals. I suspect more people would choose to be a partner at Dorsey and Whitney. You talked a little bit about your background, but can you share with the commission? I think it's neat. Why do you want to do this?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that question a lot. No, I mean, I've loved my law firm experience. I love my firm. There's nothing about the firm or who I work with or anything that's saying move away. Yeah, it's stressful. Yada yada yada. But I always thought I'd be doing public service. I came out of law school. I got my clerkship. I thought I was going to go to legal aid or something like that. At that time, it was Bradshaw had a position. I went into that, and I went into my firm, and I've just tried to keep achieving and doing more. I don't give that up lightly, but then again, I've always had the aspiration to be an appellate judge. The public service aspect's important to me, and it's a great living. I think pursuing a great life's also very important, and so that's sort of why at the end of the day it's not an easy choice, but it's not a hard choice either to pursue something bigger than a law firm partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Spies.
Hello, Bill.
Hi.
You've worked with some real luminaries in the legends of the law of Iowa. And, of course, Justice Cady, then Chief Justice, was a real innovator. And I'm not asking you to reveal anything that you learned in confidence in your work with either Justice Cady or Judge Doyle. But was there anything in your experience with them where they said, boy, this could really be improved if we just had the right person on the court? And is there something that you think, albeit as a rookie, you could do to increase the efficiency of the court, the stature of the court?
It's a great question. One thing that's popped into mind is I think maybe it's not efficiency or stature, but I think there's opportunity for the courts to maybe nudge along the profession, the bar, to increase opportunities for younger lawyers. I mean, we tend to, I'm guilty that, I end up doing the oral arguments or I do the briefing and the like, and that's the culmination. But then again, someone like Manuel is often the one who's done a lot of the work in the build up to that. I'm aware of initiatives on some federal courts that give credit or a little bit of an edge, if you split the argument, give people the opportunity to get exposure. I think if I got in here and I figured out how I could politely raise that issue and try to advance that, I think that'd be something that we ought to be looking at.
Thanks.
Well, thank you. Our time is up today, and we thank you for your application, and we wish you the best.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.